I've got 12 putting tips that are gonna help you make more putts. Let's get right into this one. Enjoy the video. Ball position is going to be key to making a good strike on the golf ball. You don't want that ball to be too much centered or too back in your stance. You actually want that ball to be slightly forward in your stance. One thing that Tiger Woods does, he talks about how he puts the ball on his left eyeball. So he bends over, he gets in his stance, he puts the ball at his left eye, and he drops it. Wherever that ball lands, directly below his eye, is where he puts that golf ball. So when he's lining up, his eyes are directly over the golf ball and it's slightly forward in his stance. The reason you want that to be slightly forward in your stance is because you actually want to be hit slightly up on the golf ball through impact to get that ball rolling smoothly. So let me show you a few. You want to be able to hit slightly up on that ball, getting it to start rolling more smoothly. So ball position is going to be key. All right, so we're talking about keeping your head still and your body quiet throughout your putting stroke. One of the pros that's really good at this is Justin Thomas. If you watch him putt, he keeps his head extremely still and his body very quiet throughout his putting stroke. That's how he's able to go on those low rounds, shoot 62 at TPC Sawgrass. Once you get in and you're ready to hit your putt, you get set. Now, you should feel like everything is frozen, but your shoulders and you're rocking at the shoulders, okay? So, keep your head still. You don't want to watch the golf ball. You look at the line, and then as you hit, you keep that head still and the body quiet. And you don't move that head until the ball is 2 or 3 feet past where you just hit it, and then you can look. Get ready. Look at your hole, look at your line, and then hit your putt. Keep your head extremely still and everything else extremely quiet. When it comes to grip pressure, I'm talking about the strength of your grip with your hands on your putter grip. I learned this from Tiger Woods himself. He made a video talking about his grip pressure. He used to grip his putter way too tightly, and Butch Harmon actually helped him have a softer grip or a less of a grip pressure on his putter, and it changed his career. So Tiger Woods says he's about a 6 out of 10 grip pressure on his putter. So if you're gripping too tightly, you really get really rigid. These forearms get really tight and you can't really get really nice, smooth stroke. All right, you get really rigid and you're very mechanical. You don't want to do that. Putting is all about feel. You want to be able to feel those fingertips on the putter grip. So mine, again, I'd probably say is even less than a 6 when I'm putting well. I get down here and again, it's very, very loose. I would say my right hand is actually a little more firm on the grip than my left hand. And then when I hit a putt, I'm really feeling the weight of the club head in my hands, all right? You don't want to grip too tightly. That's when you get really rigid and you're not going to putt well. So loosen that grip pressure and promise you it's going to make you make more putts. So lag putting, I would consider anything over 30 feet is considered a lag putt. Anything under 30 feet, 25 feet or so, you have a chance, your chances of making that are a lot better. 30 feet and out is when you're just trying to get within, I would say, a 3-foot circle around the hole. The biggest thing is play more break. That way the ball is always breaking towards the hole and it's making your putt shorter and shorter. If you don't play enough break, the ball is going to be breaking away from the hole, and that is going to make the second putt a lot longer. So play a little bit more break than you anticipate. Also, speed is obviously key. Get your line, trust it, and then concentrate on speed. Let's hit a few putts and I'll show you how. So we've got about a 45-foot putt. In my head, I'm always thinking 10% is the circle around the hole that I want to get. So 4.5 feet or so is where I want to get within on a lag putt. If you got a 50-footer, 10%, that's a 5-foot circle. If it's a 30-footer, it's a 3-foot circle. 10% rule is a great thing to have in your head. That way you can not be so hard on yourself. Lag putting is one of the most difficult things to master. Let's hit a couple on this 45-footer and see if we can get within that 4.5-foot range. If you do not have a pre-shot routine on the putting green, you need one. I'm gonna go over my pre-shot routine real quick on the putting green. You can apply some of this to your putting routine, but you need to have a routine that's the same every single time, no matter the length of the putt. That way everything is super consistent. Let me show you mine. I start from behind the ball. I'll get down, I read my putt. Then what I do is I walk around and I'm looking between the ball and the hole at my line to see, one, is there any pitch marks? Two, is there any like little small pebbles or bugs or anything that's gonna knock my ball off line? Also, I'm looking to see if I can see the grain, see it change color as far as a light green or a darker green. Then I get behind the hole and I do the same thing. I read the putt, making sure confirmation that I see the same thing from this side that I saw from that side. Then I walk around the other way, and again, I'm looking at the hole. I'm looking to see if there's any kind of grain that I can see, any damage to the hole that I can see the grain. And then I'm walking back again, looking to see if there's anything on my line. And then once I get back to my ball, I confirm that if I'm gonna use a line on my ball, that it's lined up where I want it to. And if I'm not, the white of the golf ball is up. I pick my line, I get behind it, I pick my line, I'm gonna step in, I'll line it up, I get set, I look at the hole. I'm looking for depth perception wise. I'm looking to get this feel of the putt. A little downhill here. Make sure my hands are in a good spot, and then I hit the putt. Started off pretty good line. A little bit too much pace for that line, but make sure you have a pre-shot routine on the putting green. I highly, highly suggest it. It'll help you make more putts. Strike point, how you want to hit the golf ball when you're hitting your putt. You actually want to have the middle of the golf ball hit on a slightward upward angle. You don't want to be too low. If your putter head is directly on the ground and you're hitting here, it's going to cause backspin as it comes off, and it's not going to get the right speed you want, and it's going to bounce a little more. By hitting the more middle of the golf ball on a slightward upward angle, it's going to get that ball rolling more forward, and that way the ball rolls more smoothly. Your speed's going to be much more consistent, and you're going to get the roll you want on your putts. So I'm going to show you a great drill to help you with this. All you need is a golf tee, all right? Put your golf tee into the ground and have it slightly above ground level. Then I want you to put your golf ball directly in front of that. As you line up, you want to miss that tee. If you miss the tee, you've hit a good putt. However, if you hit the tee on your putt, you don't want to hit that tee. That means you're hitting down on the golf ball. You want to hit up on the golf ball and miss that tee completely. That way, you get the ball rolling like it should. Guys, if you haven't already, please consider dropping a like on this one and hit that subscribe. I'm a scratch golfer and I love to help you guys play better golf. I post tips, drills, product reviews, as well as some course vlogs. If you enjoy watching YouTube golf, go check out my channel. I really appreciate your support. Let's get back to the video. So we got about a 10-footer here, and I'm going to talk to you about how important it is to get your line, get set, and then completely forget about your line and only concentrate on speed. This is a slight uphill right to left putt. I'm going to play it about a ball outside right. I'm going to get set, and then my line should not be an issue anymore. I should just trust my stroke and then concentrate solely on speed. Don't get too locked in on looking down at the ball and the line on your putter. You won't concentrate enough on speed. You want to concentrate more on that golf hole than anything else on the putting green. You want to shoot a free throw. You're not looking at the basketball to shoot your free throw. You're looking at the hoop, and that helps with your depth perception. So same thing goes for putting. I want you to get lined up, and I want you to look at that hole while you're getting set, and then keep your head still and hit the putt. Let me show you. I've got this one about a ball outside right. I'm going to get my putter lined up to where I want it to be, get my feet set, and now the line is completely out of my mind. I'm trusting my putter and my putter stroke. Now I'm concentrating on speed. I want to look at that hole, get the depth perception on how hard I want to hit this. Last thing I'm thinking is, it's uphill, give it a little extra. Make sure to concentrate more on speed than anything else on the putting green. Uphill and downhill putts and how that affects your break of your putt. Let's get get right into it. All right, guys, we got about two 10-footers here. I've got one that's uphill and one that's downhill. I'm going to show you how an uphill putt is going to break less and a downhill putt is going to break more. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. This one up the hill should be just outside the left edge. And then let's go over here to the downhill putt. And now I'm going to put it just outside the right edge and show you how this one's probably going to break below the hole. Obviously, you got to hit this one a little softer. As you can tell, that one broke a lot more. So downhill putts play more break than you would on an uphill putt and a level putt. Uphill, less break. Downhill, more break. All right, guys, we've got a downhill putt here. It's not a super downhill putt, but in case you're out there and you've got a really downhill, down grain putt that's super slippery and you got to just barely tap it, there is a secret that the pros know where you can line the ball up off the toe of your club, and instead of getting that nice crisp contact in the center of the club face, by hitting it off the toe, it deadens that strike and it comes off much, much softer. Let me show you. But first of all, I'm going to hit a putt right off the center of this, and it comes out pretty hot. Now let's hit the same putt, and I'm gonna line it up right off the toe like you can see here. All right, when I make this strike, it's going to deaden the golf ball and it's not going to come off as hot. As you can see, it didn't even make it to the hole. Next time you have one of those slippery downhill putts, downhill, down grain, and you need to just barely tap it to get it going, try lining it up off the toe, get that dead strike on the golf ball, and watch how it's much, much easier to hit those putts. We're going to talk about reading the grain first off. Reading the grain is actually super simple when you know how to do it. Think about when you go out and you watch the pros and they've got the stripes on the fairway, right? You see one is like a lighter green and one is a darker green. The lighter green is when the mower was going away from you and therefore the blades of grass are folded away from you. And if the darker green, that means the mower was going towards you and those blades of grass are bent towards you. That's the same thing when it comes to a putting green. When you see a shiny light green color, that means the blades of grass are laying down away from you. A ball is going to roll over something like this much quicker than it will roll over something like this. It's going to hit those blades of grass and it's going to slow it down. So down grain much, much quicker. Into the grain is going to be much, much slower. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. You can see this green is nice and light green, but as I make my way, you can see it start to shift and turn to a darker green looking at this way. And that means that now if we were to putt going this way, it is going to be into the grain, where if we were to putt going this way where it's nice and shiny, this is down grain. Another thing you can do is you can read the hole. You'll see pros and players come up and look at the hole. You can see there's a damaged portion right over here. That means the grain is going towards that damaged part of the hole. That means the grain is laying this way. That means balls are coming in and they're hitting this portion of the cup when they go in the hole. All right, so you can look at the hole, and if there's a damaged portion, that means that the ball is going that way, and that means the grain is going towards that damaged area. The grain can also be side to side. So let's talk about how it's going to affect the break of your putt if that's the case. If you have a right to left putt and you read the grain going right to left also, that putt is going to break more. Therefore, you're going to have to aim a little bit farther out and play more break. But on the flip side, if you have a right to left putt and you have the grain going left to right, that putt is not going to break as much, and therefore you need to play less break because that grain is actually going to hold that putt up. Be sure to pay attention to the grain. It doesn't have to be into or down grain. There can be side to side grain as well, and that can affect how much your putt breaks. One thing I do want to touch on, depending on where you're located in the US, you may not have grain on your greens. Depending on the type of grass that your course uses, if you're walking around and you cannot see a lighter shade or a darker shade of green on those putting greens, that's because that type of grass does not have grain. So a trigger is something that gets your putting stroke started. You'll see Phil Mickelson, he has a very strong forward press and then he hits a putt. Ricky Fowler hovers his putter. He picks up his putter right before he hits a putt. He'll hover it and then he goes. That hover or that forward press is your trigger. Sometimes you need to have a trigger so you can feel comfortable with your putting stroke. Mine, I have a slight forward press. If you'll watch here, once I get ready and I'm set, I have a slight forward press and then I hit my putt. That's just something that gets my stroke started. Again, Ricky Fowler has something where he just kind of picks up his putter head and then he hits. Find out what works for you. You can do pretty much anything. Sometimes people will tap the putter. You'll see them sit there and they're about to hit a putt and they'll go tap, 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 and that's their trigger. Find out what trigger you have, and if you don't have a trigger, try one. Maybe try to de-loft that club just a little bit with a forward press, or pick up that club just a little bit, just like Ricky Fowler. Get fitted for a putter. I got fitted for my putter by Bettinardi. I went to Chicago, Illinois, and went to Studio B Bettinardi, and they fitted me. If you haven't checked out that video, it's on my YouTube. It is one of the best fitting videos you will ever see. But if you're interested in getting fitted for a putter, you can also check out your local Second Swing. Those guys do an amazing job doing putter fittings. I switched from a 34.5 inch to a 33 inch putter because during my putter fitting at Studio B Bettinardi, we discovered that I was hitting too down on the golf ball, and by shortening this club just by 1.5 inches, that helped me hit more up on the golf ball and get that ball rolling more smoothly. These are the things that you can find out by going through a putter fitting. You find out what loft and lie you need. A lot of people go into Second Swing or they go into PGA Superstore and they buy directly off the rack. I promise you, chances are 99 out of 100, you are not in those standard specs that you bought off the rack. Go get fitted for a putter. I promise you, it can make all the difference on the putting green and therefore all the difference with your scores. That's gonna do it for this one, guys. I really appreciate you hanging out. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe. Drop a like on this one. I really appreciate your support. We'll catch you next time.